let's talk about healing. So we started doing that last week. Wrong clicker, Mike. It's probably going to work. There we go. So we started talking about this idea or this thought of healing last week. And again, for those of you that weren't here, this is something that came up about 6 months ago, and we put together a group over the fall, and a bunch of us got together and we started talking about this idea of healing. But I mean, really talking about it. And in that process, I shared with you some thoughts that we came up with when it came to healing. And that is that the majority of us are here to heal something. We've talked about healing being done physically, mentally, emotional, or spiritual. So in other words, healing just isn't done on one level, it's actually done on multiple levels. For some of us, we kind of waited to the last minute to do our homework. So for some of us, we got a lot of healing to do. And by the way, if you've got a lot of healing to do, does that make you bad or wrong? Never, ever, ever. No, of course not. And again, healing can look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people, right? So there is no one size fits all when it comes to healing. And the other thing we talked about is I've never done anything wrong. I'm never being punished. I'm not a victim. That whatever is happening is here to help me, not to hurt me. It's not a punishment, right? That on a deeper level, that your soul is wanting to experience something, learn something, or remember something. That's all. That whatever's showing up is really a gift to be received, not a curse or a punishment to be rejected or denied. Oh, so in other words, let me get this thing right. I decided on a soul level that when I came down here, I was going to go through some stuff. I'm being nice when I call it stuff, but yeah, you're going to go through some stuff. And as a result of it, you're going to grow and you're going to expand. You ever notice how in life sometimes when we go through something that's really hard, on the other side of it, we come out, anybody ever have that? If you're not raising your hand, you are dead. Just saying, right? Yeah, what else? Every time here we go. It's the same thing. It's just what I just said, right? And then we talked about this idea of health. What is really health? Health is energy. We are energy. Energy flows. When you're healthy, energy continues to move through your body no matter what's going on. It moves. Energy likes to move. It doesn't like to stay stagnant. And when you get sick, it's because something is stuck or blocked. How many kind of people can kind of feel that and know exactly what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's just kind of the way it is, right? And there's a lot of things that can cause that, right? We talked about some ideas of, trauma and other things that happen. And again, for whatever reason, and I'm experiencing this more and more based on the people I'm talking to you, some people this lifetime, for whatever reason, went through a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. I think there's something with that. I think there's something with if you went through a lot of trauma and you had a lot of pain, that what's happening is on the other side of that is all of your power. Do you understand that? If you've had a really hard time, it's probably because you wanted to go through it so you could experience your full power and your full divinity. It wasn't a mistake. Zero. It was actually divinely orchestrated by you and by God to do that. It sucks that you went through that. I'm really, really sorry, but I'm not. Why? Because you decided to finally step into your full divinity, and in order to do that, you needed to go through that. And that sucks, but it was necessary. And you set it up. And so welcome. Seriously, in a very good way. And I do not minimize anything that you went through. From the bottom of my heart, as somebody that's gone through a lot of crap this lifetime, I'm just going to say that I know it's not fun, and I know if you're going through it right now, it's probably really painful, and for that, I send my love out to you. So just know that, okay? Having said that, healing is about removing any blocks or flow of energy so the system can return to its natural state. If we take all the garbage out of our system and just let our system be our system, our body is a beautiful, beautiful creation of God. And if we just get out of the way, it heals. It can take care of itself. We don't need to do anything else. Your heart is beating every single second for all of our lives without us thinking about it. It just does it. My experience and my healing is that if I get out of the way, the body and everything else will just kind of take care of itself as long as I get out of the way. And that's the key. I got to get out of the way, right? And so last week during the service, I showed a video on Myrtle Fillmore. We've talked about her story enough, but I want to go back there for a minute because I'm going to go back to what she said. What did she said? I'm a child of God, and therefore I don't inherit sickness, right? So for Myrtle, the deal was it was stuck. She had been told her entire life, you're sick, you're frail, you're never going to be good, you're never going to be healthy. So guess what she kept telling herself? And because of the fact that she kept telling herself she was sick, she was frail, she was never going to be healthy, she was sick, she was frail, and she's never going to be healthy. And then all of a sudden, guess what? She went and saw somebody and they said, hey, that's, maybe you want to think something different. Maybe you want to approach this from a little bit of a different standpoint. And then so she started working on it. So she needed to, her work, what she did is that she went in and did her work and she learned that what she was telling herself was not true. And then she decided to focus on telling herself and her body some really beautiful things instead of condemning it to being sick, to being frail, and to not being healthy. And that's what she did. And then once she did that, as the story goes, 2 years later, she cured herself of tuberculosis. We know that story. But here's the cool part. Myrtle wasn't the only one. There's been a lot of people that have done this. What's so interesting is, I'm going to talk about 3 this morning. All 3 of them just happen to be women. I don't know what it is about you gals, but you guys got this down. You do. You really have that kind of potential and that power. So much so. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to see. So how many know Louise Hay? How many know Louise Hay's story? Louise Hay's had vaginal cancer. That's what she had. Why? What did she realize? She realized that when she was young, she was sexually abused and battered as a child. So now she's walking around her entire life. And this is one of those things where my heart just wants to open up so much to think any child going through any type of abuse, my heart just wants to bleed. But when you think about that, could you imagine what kind of thoughts she was walking around with in her head about life, about God, about men, about everything else like that? I would imagine she'd be pretty pissed off. What do you think? And as a result of it, guess what? She got cancer. And then all of a sudden, she started doing her own healing work. And then she went on to say, being aware of the cancer comes from a pattern of deep resentment that's held for a long time, and it literally eats away the body. I knew I had a lot of mental work to do. A lot of forgiveness work was in order, not unorder, in order. And then she went on to say, now when a client comes to me, no matter how dire the predicament seems to be, I know if they're willing to do, pay attention kids, I know if they're willing to do the mental work of forgiving and releasing, almost anything can be healed. And guess what she did? Like Myrtle, she healed. She healed herself. And then she wrote a really cool book called Heal Your Body, which is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, not a bad idea, because in the book, guess what it says? Behind every single sickness, illness, disease, there's an emotional component that is causing it. And once you get to the root of it, if you can release it, then you heal. Certainly what Myrtle did, certainly what Louise Hay did. But then there was another woman that came along. Oh my God. And if you're a Unity person, oh my God, she was incredible. Catherine Ponder. Susan and her class is doing the Dynamic Laws of Healing. It is an amazing book. Catherine Ponder was one of those most prolific writers in the history of Unity. She wrote a ton of books. This is one of them. She was amazing. She helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people heal in her ministry. It was incredible. And guess what she said? It all starts here. It all starts here. That's where it all starts, right? And I want to go back to what Louise Hay's, because this is to me where like the beginning of this whole thing starts in terms of the healing stuff. And I thought it was fascinating because I've read Louise Hay's book way back when. And when we went through the healing class, I had a chance to go look at it again. And all of a sudden, I realized there was a short sentence at the beginning of the book. When I read it, my jaw dropped and I couldn't believe it. Why? Because she said the following. If you're willing to do, well, this isn't it. Hold on. Just stay with this thought, though, for a minute. I'm still going to tie this together. I just jumped for half a second. But again, I'm going to go back to this. If you're willing to do the mental work, and this is the clue that she gave us, of forgiving and releasing, forgiving and releasing, forgiving and releasing. So there's something about the act of forgiving and releasing, right? And so healing then, you could say, is the act of doing this. And what Ponder said about this, which I think is really profound, and it's like one of those, wow, these ladies are bouncing ideas off of each other, right? What does Ponder say? It's an immutable and spiritual law that when there is a health problem, there is a forgiveness problem. Whoa, really? Yeah, really. So again, if there's a health problem, there's a forgiveness problem. That might not be a bad place to start, right? What I have found in my own healing journey is, guess who probably needs to be forgiven more than anybody else? Boom. And guess who needs to do that forgiveness? Boom. Yeah. Is that the only thing that needs to be forgiven? No. It could be other people. It could be situations. It could be things. Myrtle had to not only forgive herself, but then what did she have to do? She had to ask her body for forgiveness. Yeah, because she was beating up her body. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you getting sick? Why does this keep happening? So Myrtle had to go through and basically ask her body for forgiveness. I'm so sorry that I've been telling you for the last 40 years that you're sick, you're frail, you're weak. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to do that anymore. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about telling you how amazing you are, how incredible you are, how grateful I am for you. And I'm going to start sharing those thoughts with you instead. So forgiveness is a huge part of this process. Huge part of the process. Again, if you have a healing problem, you probably have a forgiveness problem. And then we're going to talk about release. Remember what Hayes said, forgiveness and release, forgiveness, release, forgiveness, release, right? So, in my opinion, releasing is identifying and letting go of any emotion. Remember, there's an emotion component to all of this stuff. It's not just in your head, it's the emotions. Letting go of the emotion and whatever mental pattern that's blocking the flow of energy in the body, mind, and soul. That's it. So releasing. So, going back to Ponder, pretty powerful statements. So the surprise is how many people try to find their way back to health, listen to this, without first cleansing their emotions. Do you ever notice when people go have stuff done, they go to a doctor, the doctor says, well, you need to do this, this, or that, or you need to go have surgery, we need to go do that, and they go do that, and unfortunately, a couple of months, a couple of years later, guess what happens? It comes back. It shows up again. It could be argued strongly that they probably didn't do the emotional work that was necessary in order for them to fully release whatever it is that's coming back. Possibly, right? Unless a mental and emotional cleaning takes place, such negative emotions fasten your health problem to you. Mike, you mean to tell me, like, I got to do some work with this stuff, otherwise it's going to probably hang out? Yeah. Does that make you bad? Does that make you stupid? Does that make you wrong? No. It just means you wanted to learn something. And this thing is showing up because you probably wanted to learn something. That's what it means, right? When your prayers have not been answered, though you've conscientiously sought the answer through spiritual methods, it's usually an indication that you need to practice release. Release, release, release. Your key to your freedom is when you release the person, the problem, or the condition that is clutching to you. You're releasing, you're letting it go because you're holding on to it, right? What did Louise Hay say about release? This is what I meant to get to earlier when I jumped a little bit. What Louise Hay said was before you begin using affirmations, however, she suggested be willing to release the need for whatever the condition is. When I read this was the one that blew me away. I don't understand it, but yet there is a part of me that absolutely understands it on a certain level. Some of you are going to understand this. It's okay if you don't. But on a certain level, there's a reason why we want to hold on to this thing. There's a reason why, because it's stopping you from doing something. And when you do some work, you can actually find out that we hold on to some stuff so that it stops us dead on our tracks from doing something else. So that's why she says, let go of the need for the condition. Start there. Pretty powerful statement. Pretty powerful. And I think that when I look at my own healing journey, it's like when I had problems that have come up, I wasn't fully stepping into my power. Why wasn't I? Because I was scared. What happened if Mike really showed up? What happened if Mike came here and really just started letting it fly? I mean, let it rip the way that I feel in my heart and I feel in my soul. What would happen if I really did that? Like, really did it, Mike? I don't mean come up here and give nice little talks. Aren't these cute little talks? He talks about affirmations and he talks about all this stuff. No, I'm sitting there saying you're all God. You're all divine. You can stand in your power, and when you do it and you're connected to divine, you will live a life that is limitless in its power, in its divinity, in your strength fully. And don't be shy about it. Quit it, Mike. That's what it felt like. That's what it feels like to me. It's like coming back into it, right? So we've got these 3 women, powerful, powerful women that are coming forward and saying, hey, guess what? You can heal, right? They were juggernauts in the healing space, in their own time, untouched. And they showed us what it was really like to step into their power fully. Don't be shy about it. Step into it. Own it. Be it. And they all had within them this thought, this one universal truth, and that is simply that every single one of you sitting here right now in this space has that healing power within you. All of us. That is not void from any one of you. You all have the ability to heal your own life. You all, right? And in my opinion, what they did is they actually flipped the script. They went from this idea of being a victim to their circumstances, and instead they flipped it right on its head, and all 3 of them became masters of their own fate. And they changed the world as a result of it. They changed the world. They woke up that healer within them, like we all can do. And all they all did it in their own unique way. And then guess what they did? They went and shared it with the world. That's what they did. And thank God they did. And I mean that, literally. Unity doesn't happen if Myrtle doesn't step up and do that. Doesn't happen.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day, and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.